So glad you're here, Diane. Welcome to Browns Ferry Gardens. We just love this place. The blooms are amazing, and we're so happy that we're here to share them with you.
I'm excited because it's a very sexy place, because once I got here, I found out these guys weren't just growing daylilies, they're hybridizing them. So you're doing what the bees normally do?
Oh, we have the best time. Every day we come out here first thing in the morning and we look at the flowers and we decide what parents we want to use, and we take the pollen, just like the bee gets it on his feet, and we take it and we put it on each of the flowers. And what's so cool is no daylily comes back true from seed. Every daylily has half its chromosomes from the mother plant and half its chromosomes from the father plant. So it's just like making children. You never know what you're going to get. And it's like Christmas every morning when we come out to see the new blooms.
So in other words, two pink parents would not necessarily make a pink baby.
Absolutely. I have a white daylily that has a purple parent and a pink parent, and it came out stark white.
Amazing.
So it's amazing, and then when you get to see things that came like out of the same seed pod, they're essentially siblings, but they look completely different. So you look at it and you go, "Who's your daddy?"
Yeah, really. Now, when we say the word daylily, is it true that the bloom's only there for one day?
That's it. The bloom is only there for one day. This daylily here is blooming today. Tomorrow morning it will be mush. And people who are real particular about their gardens, they can pluck that mush mummy off and make room for the new beautiful blooms that are coming the next day. But you can see this plant has lots of buds on it, and it'll be blooming for quite some time.
So it's not necessary to deadhead a daylily?
No, it's not necessary. It doesn't affect the health of the plant at all.
So Heidi, I heard that you moved here from Cincinnati, Ohio. How did you get to the Browns Ferry community of Georgetown?
Oh, isn't that a good question?
Yes, it is.
It's a nice Jewish city girl like me doing in a place like this.
Well, you love it, though.
I love it. I love being at the nursery, and I love being here with my family, and it's brought me so many amazing things. But I met my husband, Charles, because of daylilies. We were at a daylily meeting together in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we met and we started talking, and I started calling him and asking him for donations for auctions that I was in charge of. And then I was on a national tour in Cincinnati in 2005, and Charles already knew what he was thinking about and planning on. So when he came to my garden, he actually didn't look at my garden. He wanted to meet my mother, because he will tell you, us Southerners, we may talk funny, but we're not stupid. You want to see what your wife is going to look like, you go look at her mother and check it out. And that's exactly what he did. And then after the national, one thing led to another, and a year later I was digging up all my garden and bringing it here. And it's been amazing. And now I have family and grandkids, and you couldn't ask for more.
Heidi, tell me about the daylily that you named after a very special charity.
This daylily here is called "I'm Gonna Love You Through It," which is the name of a Martina McBride song that she did for breast cancer survivors. And I saw her sing it on Good Morning America to Robin Roberts the last morning she was on TV before she went for her bone marrow transplant. And I was bawling like a baby. It just caught me completely off guard to be that invested in what was going on with this television star. And it made me think that I really need to do something for my family, because I have so many family members that are suffering from diseases, and I wanted to show them that I'm going to love them through it. So all the proceeds of this flower are going to the Susan G. Komen for the Cure, the Prostate Cancer Foundation, the National Brain Tumor Society, and the Multiple Sclerosis Society, all for members of my family that suffer from these diseases. So it sells for $100. We had about 28 of them when the season began. I think we have 3 left. So we're getting ready to write those checks and mail them off to the society. So I'm really excited about that.
Brilliant, Heidi. So let's go now to that daylily that you named after your big move to South Carolina.
Okay. I call this flower Way Past the Boonies. After I moved here in 2006, I called my parents. I said, "You guys won't believe where I'm living. I'm living in the boonies." So of course they came to visit and see where I was, and we picked my folks up at the Myrtle Beach airport, and we got all the way out here, and my dad says, "Heidi, you don't live in the boonies. You live way past the boonies." So I did this flower in honor of my move to South Carolina.
It's beautiful, purple and lime green.
With little spots on it. And then I have another one that I love that I had mentioned to you earlier. This is Tip of the Iceberg, my white daylily, which has a purple and a pink parrot. And Tip is one of the whitest daylilies on the market, and white is a very difficult color to get in daylilies. I have another one I love. It's a big 9-inch flower, and it's curly and cascades. It's called Papa Goose. And I named it Papa Goose because I have a pair of geese that mate back at the pond, and now I have a pair of geese. I have their children, I have their spouses, I have their grandchildren. So soon we'll have a mama goose and baby gooses in the daylilies as well.
Neat.
And then I have another one I named Womanizer for the Britney Spears song. So I love that one. It's a lot of fun. And then one of my favorite patterns is Ribbons of Color because it's got beautiful concentric colored rings in it. And the patterns are really what's happening in the daylilies right now.
What's the hottest selling daylily from Brown's Ferry Gardens?
Oh, I would have to say that's Charles's flower, Thelma Douglas, is one of the hottest. We've sold out of that daylily 3 years in a row. But I have one that was just introduced this year called Dance with Somebody, and it was gone in 3 weeks after the catalog went out.
So Heidi, you said you were really out here in the boonies, but the fact is we found it, other people can find it, and folks from all over the world are finding you.
Absolutely, Diane. We are out in the boonies, but we ship internationally. We have daylilies we ship to Russia and Lithuania and Germany and England. And when we had our open house last weekend, we actually had visitors from England for our open house, and they come from all kinds of places for our open house, from Virginia, Tennessee, Georgia. So it's really amazing how much people appreciate our flowers. We grow them for their hardiness and their performance in the garden, and I think people really appreciate those values in our plants.
I love Heidi Douglas. I can tell she's already one of my soul sisters, but right now I'm going to go over and meet her husband because Charles is going to tell me about this, the family farm from years gone by. So Charles, I heard this used to be a tobacco field.
That's correct, Diane. My father raised tobacco here on this farm, and we've also in the same field here where the nursery's at, we have raised corn and soybeans and watermelons, so before daylilies.
Well, in talking about your dad, I know that he actually worked for the Vanderbilts.
We had about a 275-acre farm here, but he managed a 1,200-acre farm 1 mile up the road for the Vanderbilts from Arcadia Plantation on the coast of Georgetown there.
And Charles's dad also was the mail carrier.
Back in the years ago, and he actually delivered some mail with a mule and wagon.
Amazing.
Amazing.
So Charles, I know it was your mom who got you into loving flowers so much.
That's correct. My mother always loved flowers, and I've always helped her in her flowers. And in the mid-'80s, we started collecting daylilies when we found out there was more than orange and yellow daylilies. And sort of one thing led to the other, and she encouraged me to start this daylily business, and it's sort of a hobby that's kind of outgrown a hobby. Luckily now we have full-time employees to help us here and all, but my mother lived long enough to see all of this, and it brought her great joy to all these flowers. She said many times that she would never need flowers at her funeral because she had all the flowers every day of her life that she could ever enjoy.
What a beautiful thought.
Yeah.
I asked Charles what was the greatest information I could give in this interview about the farm, and you know what he said? It's his love of seeing people happy with their daylilies. And so for you, it's the joy people get by raising their own.
It is the joy. We enjoy sharing our flowers with other people, and there's lots of people across the United States and the world that enjoy these flowers, and that brings us great joy. We have friends that come help us from all over the United States. It's just a wonderful thing to know we have that many people that love flowers and daylilies.
What are some of the daylilies that you personally want to brag about? Of your own, that you've created?
I think Heidi's already maybe mentioned my flower that I named for my mother, Thelma Douglas.
Yes.
I waited many years for that flower because it had to be a very special flower, and it's used all over the world now to hybridize with to create new babies. Brown's Ferry Royalty is another one, and just for information, every year I name one of my introductions for a local beach. Last year it was Myrtle Beach, and this year it was Cherry Grove Beach. And I also name one of my flowers every year for a local plantation. This year the plantation was Annandale Plantation, south of Georgetown on the Santee River, which is the most famous duck hunting plantation on the East Coast.
And they're all gorgeous.
Thank you. And they're all diverse. It's just like having children. They're all different colors and shapes and heights and sizes.
Well, it's been a great first 20 years, Charles. What's up for the next 20?
Well, I think our hope is to have our flowers a little more recognized than they are now, to have more people enjoy them and to distribute them worldwide. We're shipping to a lot of countries now, and we just went into Russia, which really thrills us that our flowers are in Russia now. It's a big market and a lot of people over there, and, but other than that, just to do what we're doing and enjoy the flowers as well as the people we meet along the way.
And having met the Douglases, that is exactly right. They love what they're doing. Come visit Brown's Ferry Gardens. Well, my new friend Heidi at Brown's Ferry Gardens said that you could take any 2 daylilies to make a third. So I wonder what would happen if I cross-pollinated this yellow one with this orange one. I can't do that on TV or I would lose my G rating. But I guess depending on how they turned out, I would call it Diane's Pride or Diane's Folly, whichever. But how do you tell a male from a female? Would somebody call Heidi?